got the wing turned over again, top side up now, and I just went over it with the irons and got the 350-degree shrink on that. That's about as good as I'm going to get it. The next step, they recommend to wash the whole thing down with either reducer or MEK or acetone. That gets all the fingerprints, oils, and stuff like that off of it. Acetone's not enough to dissolve all of the polytack and stuff, but it is enough to get all the fingerprints and greases and oils and stuff like that off of it. Reducer is too hard to come by here and too expensive. I'm going to save all the reducer I've got for mixing with the other parts that go on here. MEK is pretty strong and it works pretty good for cleaning all that stuff up, but I've only got one gallon can of MEK left. So I've got some acetone here. I'm going to go ahead and start washing this down with some acetone. I'll do the top surface first, and then we'll probably go ahead and put the poly brush on it, and then I'll get somebody to help me flip it over, and we'll do the bottom surface. I don't know, maybe I should go ahead and clean the top surface with the acetone and then flip it over and wash it again before I put the poly brush on. I have to think about that. Anyway, I'm going to wash this and get it cleaned up and ready for poly brushing. I've got my butyl rubber gloves on here, and I've got invisible gloves inside of those, so that should be double protection. Oh, I'll saturate that pretty good with acetone and just start scrubbing. Like I said, I do a lot of touching and stuff on this, gets dirt and whatnot on it. Get it, put my fingers on it. Always feels good to put your fingers on it and rub it down to feel it. See how it's doing. So anyway, I got the door open, so got plenty of fresh air in here. Acetone fumes are not too bad. Once I start with the poly brush, I've got to use some dust mask on that. I'm going to use just a little bit of MEK here. There's some spots that may have a little bit of poly tack sticking through that need just a little bit of extra cleaning. I decided to go ahead and coat that with that first coat of poly brush. I can't afford to just keep waiting on somebody to help me move things every time I turn around, so I'll get this side coated and let it cure, and then we'll flip it over and do the other side and clean it up and do the same thing with it. So this stuff is pretty noxious, so I'm going to be wearing a mask while I'm doing that, so I'm not going to be talking on the microphones or anything like that. So I got to see if I can find my tack cloth first and go over that with a tack cloth now that I've cleaned it up with acetone and MEK. And then once I run over it with a tack cloth real quick, then we'll start putting some poly brush down. Well, I've got it mixed up 3-to-1 in a jug, and I got my 3-inch wide brush. I've got the door open, and I've got my overhead fan going, filter fan going, so we'll get some air circulating in here, but I still got to wear a dust mat or mask. You realize how nasty that stuff smells when you take the mask off. Wasn't too bad with it on. I didn't smell anything with it on. Anyway, that's pretty noxious. So I got the whole thing coated. Let me take a look here. Alright, you can see that it's all coated. It's got that pink tint to it now. And it looks like hell with all the runs and stuff in it. But that's ideal. That's exactly what you want, is enough penetration. You want that poly brush to penetrate the fabric and get down on the other side of it, on the back side of it, like that. That's what the runs are, is the poly brush through the other side. There's no runs on this side. It's all on the other side. So that means it got a pretty thorough coating of it and got pushed down through the fabric, through the pores of the fabric real well, so it encapsulates that fabric in that poly brush. So like I said, there's a big run right there, lots of little runs, but that run is on the underside, inside of the fabric, not on the outside of it. So like I said, it looks like hell right now because of all the runs, but that is just exactly ideal. That's just exactly what you want. Leave the door open and the fan going here now for a while, and let that stuff cure. We'll let it cure most of the day now, I guess, until I get somebody to help me turn it over. But I don't want it to turn over too easy, too soon. I want that stuff to set up hard, set up good before I turn it over on the other side. So, anyway, I'm done for now. I gotta get out of this place while I can.